Welcome to Public Health Matters, where we talk about what matters in public health. I'm Jane Goodman, Public Health Strategist with the Nashua Division of Public Health and Community Services. And I'm joined today by our Deputy Health Officer, Ren Beaudoin. Welcome, Ren.
Thank you very much. Very happy to be back for my third time.
Oh yes, your third appearance. We've got to make note of that. So we're really glad that you're here. Just make a few COVID announcements before we get started on our very important topics today. But just want to remind folks that COVID antigen tests are available for free at the division. So you can call us at 603-589-4500. And although the emergency declaration on the federal level is being suspended in May, on May 11th, as a matter of fact, it is still imperative that if you have signs or symptoms of COVID, cough, fever, runny nose, that you do take a COVID test, and make sure that if you are positive, that you do isolate for those 5 days and then wear a mask around people for another 5 days, because it is still out there. And if you do have COVID and you have a lot of symptoms, another reminder is that you want to call 1-800-818-5803 to get Paxlovid. And you can get that through your provider as well, but if your provider is not available, on-site medical services can hook you up with that Paxlovid. So another great resource. So while the pandemic is receding, it is not over. So please take precautions just as you would. Wear masks in crowded places. Keep those windows open if you're going to have a lot of people in your house, well-ventilated areas, and just to make sure that we continue to be safe. Wash our hands well, all of those things that we should have been doing pre-COVID, we're going to do and continue to do as this lightens up. But we are not here to talk about COVID today. We are here to talk about rodents today. So Earth Day has come and gone. We are on a new topic. We are not immune here in Nashua. You hear on the radio all the time about rats and rats in New York City and the rat czar. So I guess you're the Nashua rat czar today.
I wouldn't go that far, but
no.
Yes, we certainly work with them.
But we know that we've had a lot of reportings of rats, and rats in whether they're in food service areas or in streets or in garbage everywhere around the city, and in other places. We want to get ahead of this. So you've graciously offered to come on today to talk about rats, and you've told me that you can talk forever, but we only have about a half an hour. So let's talk about rats.
Certainly.
Let's get started.
Let's do a little rat 101 here.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that we could kind of talk about with rats. They're very fascinating creatures. They're very smart, but we're going to talk about the basics and how to exclude them from the places where we don't want them, right?
Yes.
So it's one thing to see them. We don't want to see them in our homes. Mm-hmm. So really when we're talking about rodents, like you've stated, we have starting to see them in more places where we haven't seen them previously, or at least they have been sighted more often than they have in the past. There's a lot of reasonings out there for it. There's no hard evidence to say that there's more of them out there, but because there's been more calls to our office, to pest control offices, there is that thought that they are actually more than they have in the past few years. Some of the reasons for this actually do relate back to the pandemic. So over COVID, people may left their offices more, they left the restaurants, everything was closed up. So rats were kind of pushed outside of their norm as we were, right? So they used to be in places where there was plenty of food, plenty of people around, plenty of hiding places, and then we left it. So they also were a little lost. They didn't know where to go. Their food kind of wasn't there anymore. So they tend to follow where the food is, and the food is where we are. So they started to go back into where people's homes are, where we live. When we started to work from home, maybe we did some extra backyard gardening. Maybe we put out some extra bird feeders. Maybe we had extra, food that we typically wouldn't have had otherwise. We bought more pets over the pandemic, so there's more pet food out. So as we build all these, what we call a attractive nuisance, right? It's something that looks nice, but we don't realize what it brings in with it. So the behaviors that we did or had over the pandemic brought it back to our homes, and then when everyone went back to the offices, went back to the businesses, they also came back with us. So now we're kind of battling on this on a double front, right? So it's very challenging. So now that we're dealing with this, now that people are seeing this more, we have to say, gosh, what do we do to fix this, right? What can we do to exclude them?
So what can we do? We talk about, I know we've had some for example, speaking of like, we have outdoor dining, and I'm not accusing or laying blame on outdoor dining, but I know in New York City, they have said that has increased some of that. So, you know, I know our restaurants are careful about cleaning up at the end of the day, but also our diners could be careful too. If you know that you've spilled something, if you know that you've left something, you know, either point it out or just pick it up, or, you know, I think that everyone could contribute to cleaning up this problem.
Yes, and you're absolutely right. I think everyone has a role in it, right? So, you know, one of the things that's challenging for us is that we would get calls and people would say, well, what are you doing? And you kind of have to throw it back and, okay, well, you're seeing it on your property, what are you doing? And that tends to set people off the wrong way, but the reality is that they are attracted to something in that area, and you have to survey and see what they're attracted to, and then remove that nuisance that is bringing them there. So that relates back to outdoor dining, right? So if people are outdoors, we have these areas, again, which are staged for people to sit and eat food, and the rodents want our food. It comes down to how clean and how sanitized that we're keeping these areas. So the critical portion is any time we have any sort of outdoor dining, whether it's on the streets, on Main Street, if we're in the parking lot of a restaurant,
in Greeley Park.
Right, we could be in the park or even in our own backyards, is that we have to make sure that we're cleaning up afterwards. So that sanitation part is really the first key to the control. So there's a theory we call IPM. It is integrated pest management. Think of that as a pyramid, right? Where we have some basic items that we do to prevent the rodents from being there in the first place. And that, again, is keeping stuff clean, right? We want to make sure there's no food waste, there's no water waste. Mitigation, absolutely critical.
We love that word in public health.
And then we move up, right? So there's other things that we do once things are clean to then exclude them from getting into places where maybe we're housing food or we store items.
Okay.
So rats, they're such an amazing creature. Like, people are kind of freaked out by them, right? We don't want to see them. They do carry illness. People are. I used to breed them. I had other jobs where I would breed them for certain purposes. So I've been around rats for a very long time. And when you're around them, you appreciate how smart that they are, the biology that they have that makes them thrive very well, and even at times outsmart us in our ways to control them. And you understand too how powerful their jaws are. So people don't realize that rats' teeth can chew through almost anything. Other than like a hard metal and a properly cured concrete, they can pretty much chew through anything else. So any soft plastic, any wood, any sheetrock, any soft metals, any concrete that's not properly cured or mixed, they can chew through.
So we have a picture that we're going to pop up because it says, did you know that rats can fit through a hole the size of a quarter? You know, and our quarter is going to look really big to the viewing audience. But, I mean, a quarter's not very big.
It is not.
And rats are bigger than mice.
Yes.
So, but they can just kind of, are they kind of moldable like rice? Because like mice, because I know mice can like really get through tiny places.
So the rule of thumb is if the head fits, the whole thing fits. So it seems like that their bodies
it's like childbirth.
Right. So,
sorry.
so the rats' bodies, they seem like they're a little fluffier. But the generalism, the average rat size, if the head fits, the body will fit. Now, if you have a larger rat, you know, its head fit, it's going to struggle. It may not fit, but most times that will be true. So there's two different species of rats that we're primarily dealing with in any city. One of them is the roof rat. That's your longer, slender rat. Its tail's generally longer than its body. Its ears are a little bit kind of higher up.
You're killing me right now.
Usually has a blacker
I'm gonna
body.
have bad dreams tonight.
But it's a good thing to know the difference, because these are also your smaller rats.
Okay.
They weigh maybe 5 ounces to like 10 ounces. They're not really big, but they're called roof rats because they're typically found, they're better climbers than the other rats. So you're typically find those in your second to third levels, the attic spaces. That's where those rats are typically going to be. Then you have your Norway rat. That rat can be up to a pound and maybe a little over a pound.
That's like the country, the Norway rat?
Yes, called it.
Okay.
Correct. They're browner. Their tails are a little bit shorter than their body on average. They're a little bit plumper. And they're your more basement rats. So those are the ones you'll find in your basement or first floor levels. They're not as good of a climber as your roof rat.
I'm never going into my basement again.
or in the attic. You're just not going anywhere. But so those are the two different rats that we deal with. So when we're talking about that average rat size, we are talking about that larger rat too. So again, as long as that head fits, then generally speaking, on average, the whole body is going to fit through. And you're right. If you're at home and you're listening, go into your pocket, go into your change drawer, pull out a quarter. It's not that big.
Right.
And if you see any holes along the outside of your house that's a quarter size or bigger, you want to make sure that you fill those. And again, fill those with stuff that the rats can't chew through. If you're just
like
using
wire
like a
or
yeah. So they sell something. They're like metal sheets that you can buy. There's also called it's a like metal lath that you can buy. It's like a solid sheet metal steel. So they can't chew through that, but you also want to monitor, right? So it's one thing to seal up a hole, but nothing's stopping them from chewing a second hole, right? So we want to make sure that we're also taking away what's drawing them there. So rats are very smart. If it's not worth their effort, if it's harder to get to the food source, they're just going to give up and go somewhere else.
Okay.
So you really want to make it difficult. You really want them to sit back and say, this isn't worth it, and move on. But that's not it, right? So we're also talking about mice. So
Well, I was just going to say, how do they compare to mice? Because, you know, we, again, in the burbs, have a mouse problem. And I know that they come in when it gets colder, they want it to be warmer. We use a lot of duct tape. I'm thinking that we might have to change our strategy.
Yes.
Duct
Yes.
tape and glue traps, but
Yeah, so it's good to, again, try to exclude them. But again, mice, since they're a lot smaller, they can also fit into holes a lot smaller. So think of a dime.
size of a dime.
Size of a dime.
We have a picture for that
Yeah,
too. We'll
so-
pop up there.
Which is perfect, because then again, once again, if you're at home, if you have a quarter, try to find a dime. And now you see really how small
Yeah.
that is. And again, if you see any holes that are that small around your home, anywhere where rodents could be getting in, make sure to seal those holes up with a mixture of a metal filling and a like concrete filling. Make it really difficult for them to get in, because once they're in, they don't want to go anywhere else, and they can
Yeah, it's
breed
nice and
pretty
warm.
quickly. So thinking of the Norway rat, to get back to rats, it breeds a little bit quicker than the roof rat. They can have up to 7 litters every year, with a litter size of generally between 8 and 12 pups. So within a year, you could have just a couple of rats can make 80 more rats. And that's not including all the other rats that the newly bred rats then will make. So time is kind of something that you do want to think about. You don't want to see something, say, I'll get to it later, because then you're just making that
Yeah,
actual
you want to
problem
get
grow.
on it. You want to get ahead of it.
quick.
And we say that a lot in public health. Whatever the issue is, we want to get ahead of it. And that's why we're
Exactly.
doing this today, to talk about this, not to scare people, not to have
Correct.
them have bad dreams, but really to make sure that people are taking some precautions.
Correct.
So, these pictures we're putting up, they kind of look cute. I'm going to
Yes.
say, like, especially the mouse. But you can see that it's not like rats have shoulders, so if their head can get through, they're just,
Right. They slink on through.
elongating
Yeah,
themselves.
exactly. It's like a slinky.
So
Sink it in.
we have another slide that says, like, what you see is this, okay, we'll call them cute just for yucks. This cute rat or mouse, but what don't you see is like the germs and the disease that they're carrying. So let's just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so rodents do carry a lot of illnesses with them. Some of them you can get straight from them, whether it's whether they bite you if you happen to come in close contact with them. You can get like a rat bite fever based on certain types of bacteria that could be in the mouth that the rat may be like carrying. So they can potentially carry lots of different types of bacteria, of parasites, of viruses. So some of them we can get if we happen to interact with their like feces or their urine as we're cleaning it up. Maybe we're breathing it in. So it's good to kind of do a wet cleaning method, right? Just to wet stuff down so you're not creating that kind of dust as you're cleaning and breathing that in. But that's the critical part too, is you really want to clean any of those feces up that you see, because there's actually pheromones in that. So other rodents will follow that chemtrail that the other rats are laying through their urine and through their feces. And if there's a pile in a particular area, that's a welcoming sign. Rodents saying, oh, we've been here for a long time.
Right, my
Everybody
friends have
come
been
here
here."
and party.
Yeah.
So that's when things can pile up. And again, it can create some more dangers of breathing in extra stuff. So just cleaning up.
So not to be too gross, but what does rat rat crap. What does rat poop look like? Because I mean, that's, if you don't know how to identify it,
Yes.
you may not know that you're even like in trouble. Like we have
Correct.
bunnies in our yard. I know what their stuff
Correct.
looks like.
Yeah. So rodents, it's going to be a comma-shaped, almost dark, pellet-ish matter. So it's almost looks like a comma. Mouse ones are obviously really tiny, almost like a small
commas.
black grain of rice almost.
Okay.
Where rodents ones are going to be, the rat ones will be maybe 2 to 3 times that
Okay.
size. So it looks like a large grain of rice. But again, black in color, almost say like comma-ish kind of
Yeah.
shape. But you'll
So
kind of see
curved,
them
yeah.
in clusters, or you'll start seeing them kind of matted around. And if you're noticing lots of those kind of comma-shaped or rice-shaped black items that are on the floors and corners, so rodents do like to travel around lines, walls, corners, because their whiskers are actually sense organs. They have them on their sides as well as on their head, so they know if they're going under something. So those are sensory organs, and because they have very bad eyesight, they can't see very well. Their eyesight's approximately 20 times worse than ours, so they really use their whiskers to feel where they're going on the sides as well as on the top. So they know when they're going under something, they know if they're going in their burrow. They even know if they're coming up to a bait box, and that's why sometimes they'll not go in it, or they'll go like around it, or they'll jump
Like
over
they
it.
have a heart traps or
Right,
something
because
like
they have
that.
lots of sensors, so they're very sensory focused. So look in those areas. Look where they need, because they need to feel with those sense organs.
Wow, you do know a lot about rats. But prior to this, you told me that you could talk about them forever.
Hours.
Anything else you want to leave everyone with, like as far as keeping it clean, filling holes? When is it time to call a pest
Yes.
control? Because it's got to be a certain point where we just can't handle it.
Yeah, so if you're seeing, so the biggest thing is we can do every measure that we can to exclude them, to keep them out. But then the biggest part, if you're not monitoring, so monitoring is the biggest thing. So you can fix everything, but if you're not going back to check to make sure that they're gone, then you might as well as do nothing. So if you seal something up, and then you go back in a couple days and you notice some fresh feces or a new hole or those types of things, then you maybe want to reach out to pest management. Think about adding those like bait boxes, maybe some snap traps. Work with a pest control expert that knows what they're doing, that maybe knows where to place stuff. Kind of look at maybe other areas that you didn't think about, to really do that full survey to find out where they could be coming from, so you can really do that exclusion to the best that you possibly can. Because there could be some things that we do miss. And again, there are some what they call smart rats that no matter what you put out, for some reason, they're like secretive, right? They don't come out, they're kind of smarter, and they just avoid everything. So it could be challenging to tackle that full effort with them.
Yeah. Well, and just on that note, because you talk about their intelligence, there was a whole story today on the radio about these 3-pound rats, which I can't even imagine. They're out in California, they're at the San Diego Zoo, and they are used to sniff out bombs, which I just thought was fascinating, because I was like, wow, I'm doing this story with Ren today, and we never even thought about that. But again, they've been trained to do this work, and so they're kept healthy and safe in the zoo, but that's a pretty big rat.
Yeah, rats, they can get big. There's different types of rodents. The ones we have here, thankfully, aren't that big, but yeah, they are very smart. Their sense of smell is fantastic, and because they do learn quickly, they can be trained.
Yeah, so that's really cool. And people have pets. People have pet rats.
Yes.
I mean, I know that's a thing for
It's a big thing.
for some people.
Yeah, it's shocking actually how many books you can find on choosing the right rodent pet. It is absolutely, it's a big field. People love them, and they also grow them and raise them for other purposes, for feeders, for other animals. So there's lots of reasons to have rodents, and again, they're a very smart animal.
Well, I'd love to talk about rats all day, but we also have to talk a little bit, because it is spring.
Yes.
We have to talk a little bit about Lyme disease and ticks, because I've been pulling them off my dog. They're dog ticks, as I confirmed with you. But Lyme disease is a real issue, especially in this area. We have a lot of deer around. We know that, correct me if I'm wrong, that Lyme disease comes from deer ticks.
Yes, correct.
And so, they look really nice. Bambi looks nice running through your yard, but they're also leaving a bunch of ticks there. So you just want to be very careful.
And this is actually a really good tie-in, because rats can also carry Lyme. And so although we're not going to get Lyme from the rats, if there's a lot of rodents in our yards, in our areas, then the ticks can feed off of the rats. They can get the Lyme from the rats if they have it, and then their next feeding could be on us as humans.
Okay.
And we could actually get Lyme through the rat, through the tick. So that's another reason to keep rats out of where
Keep
we
them
are,
away.
because that's the other things that they can carry. So they can carry a whole lot of these illnesses. They can carry any illness pretty much that the tick can carry. It's just that we're not going to get those from the rat, but the tick can. And then
Okay.
they can pass it on to us.
Right,
So
when they land
the
on us.
Powassan virus, the Babesia, the parasite, the plasma, the rats carry it all, and the tick can get it if it feeds on a rat that does have that, and then on their next feeding transmit it to us. So we do have to be very careful. So I'll just run through very quick tips of what
Okay.
we can do to keep ourselves safe. So the biggest thing is when we're outdoors, if we're in our yards, keep your lawn cut. If you're next to any forest edge, and create
Okay.
a
And we do
barrier.
have something about protecting your yard, so we'll pop that up where you're giving us all these
So
tips.
follow all those tips. It's a good thing to have a wood chip barrier if you're close to any wooded area of about 3 feet, just to make sure that those ticks are, don't have a nice way to crawl over and get to where you are. If you have tall grass, make sure that it's mowed. Anytime you're outside playing for a long time, when you come in, do a tick check. And look in areas where you don't typically see. So in the armpits, the back of the neck, back of the ear,
Right, they like
belly
warmth,
button.
just like all these other things. Yeah.
They do. But unlike rodents and certain things, time is on our side when we're talking about ticks, especially Lyme. So it could take a day or two for a tick to be able to transmit Lyme to us through its bite. So it gives you time to actually find that tick
get
and
rid
actually
of it.
take it off. But the biggest thing, this has been shown to be very helpful. If you like hiking, if you like playing in the yard, at the park, walking the dog, when you get home, take a shower.
Yeah.
Right? Because a tick will actually take 10 minutes, half hour, an hour, maybe 2 hours, crawling all over you before it finds that right feeding spot.
Sure.
So you can actually wash it off in that shower prior to ever latching on, and it comes right off.
Yeah.
And then a good time too in that shower is just to kind of feel around, see if you notice any bumps. So if you do
Right.
have one that did latch, now you have found it, and then you can do the careful measure to take it off in the proper way. There's a proper way to
Okay,
take a
tell
tick
us how
off.
to do that.
It's very critical. So you want to get the mouth parts off. So ticks, they're like a lot of bugs, where when they bite you, they usually have a chemical in their mouth that numbs you, so you don't feel the bite. And those mouth parts are like this really sharp, sort of like a needle point. So when you take it off, there's something called a tick spoon. We have them free in our office. So if you
I have one at home.
Yeah, so if you come.
Rexus appreciates
Yeah,
it.
oh, they are great for dogs, for humans, kids, everything. So if you come to our building, walk into the Mulberry Street side, the first office on your left, we got a whole bunch of free ones out there, but it's a little scoop. It has a little notch on it. You just slide that scoop under the tick butt, and you just slide it forward, and you just pop it
I
forward.
never
The tick
thought
mouths
of
pop
ticks
up.
having butts, but thank you for
Or
that.
it's right, it's backside. Or tweezers, right?
Okay.
So if you have tweezers, if you don't have a tick spoon, just grab the tick body. You want to make it, you just want to flip it up, so it's again, its back end is,
Okay.
is reaching the ceiling. Pull straight up,
Okay.
right, to get those
So kind of turn and
those
pull
mouth
straight
parts
up.
off. So just flip it up, pull straight out. So you don't
Okay.
want to rip it, you don't want to twist it, you don't want to cover it with like Vaseline, you don't want to try to burn it, you don't want to do any of those things that people do, lots of myths, because
Yeah.
you don't want to pull it straight up to get those mouth parts
Yeah.
are, because that's where those parasites, the viruses,
Sure.
the bacteria could be. And if those are left in you, even though the tick body's gone, if something is still in those mouth parts, it could still transmit to you.
Yeah, so we have, hopefully that'll go up too. We have removed ticks immediately using
Yes.
tweezers, grasp tick close to the skin, pull upward with steady, even
Correct.
pressure.
Yes.
So that's really important. And then just briefly, so we talked about protecting ourselves. So one thing I try to remember to do, especially if I'm hiking in the woods or whatever, is to wear longer socks and tuck my
Yes.
pants in. Long sleeves. It's not always ideal for the summer hikes, but it's just so important.
It is.
Because it just finds you. And I find even they can drop from trees. I mean, they're just seem to me everywhere.
Yeah, so our dog ticks and the deer ticks, the two most common ones we have here, they do a behavior they call questing. So ticks in their nymph and the adult stage, they have 8 legs, so they're more related to like spiders. And with their 3rd and 4th leg sets, they'll latch onto like a leaf or a blade of grass, and then with their 2 front leg pairs, they'll kind of hold them out and they'll kind of sway. So that's called questing. And as you kind of brush past it, they take those 2 pairs and and they latch onto you. So through that questing, that's how they get on you as you're just walking by something.
Okay.
And so just be very mindful of staying on the trail. Try not to go, off into the woods.
Sure.
Stay on the trail. Try not to brush up against anything.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of tips, and then let's just quickly talk about our dogs, because
Yes.
you
Our
and I
lovely
love our
dogs. We love
dogs. To check them around the eyelids, under their collars, in and around their ears, around their tail. I feel badly for people who have dark colored dogs, because my dog is light colored, but we still miss them. But it's just so much easier. I don't know what you do when you have a black dog, because that is just not easy. But I guess a lot of brushing.
Lots of brushing,
feeling them.
just
make sure you don't feel any bumps or
correct,
anything.
yeah. I'll usually do like a really good pat down. Just kind of rub the sides. Definitely look around the ears are a very common area where the ticks will burrow. So just look around those areas very carefully. If your dog is good and will let you do it, great.
I know. That's the
if
other
not,
problem.
maybe a challenge for
maybe a
certain
little treat.
people.
Give 'em a little
Exactly,
treat.
something fun just to keep them occupied, but just work with it. Just be really patient. Take your time with it. Search them down, and if you find them, just again, use a tick spoon or use the tweezers, and just have them off the same method you would do on yourself.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, thank you, Ren, so much. If anyone has more questions, you can reach Ren by email. We'll put that up, and I really appreciate it. Not the easiest topics today, rats and ticks, but it's very important that people take those kind of mitigation efforts. Let's prevent them coming into your home, prevent them from walking down the street, prevent them from latching. Not the rats, but the ticks. Just a few public health reminders. We want to remind it is Mental Health Awareness Month, and so courage is knowing when to ask for help. Don't hesitate to discuss your mental health with your primary care provider. That's your first line of getting help. You don't have to go to a counselor right away. You talk to your primary care provider. There are a lot of resources out there to help you through some of these difficult moments. Also, speaking of getting people back to their provider, COVID is receding, so folks, we got to get back to our primary care providers. Know your numbers. Is your blood sugar over 100? Know your diabetes risk and visit your provider. And we also were talking about blood pressure, one of the most controllable things, but if you don't know that you have high blood pressure, you can't control it. So again, is it over 120, over 80? Know your risk for hypertension. And again, we just really want people to get back to their providers. Speaking of providers, we do have a clinic at Public Health. We have immunizations and lead testing on Tuesdays and Fridays, Tuesdays from 4 to 7 p.m., and Fridays from 9 to 12. And we also have a sexual wellness clinic on Thursdays from 3 to 6 p.m. And if you're driving around town, I'm sure you'll see our vans on Mondays and Wednesdays going to the library and to different places, offering services on the spot. If you want a clinic appointment, 603-589-4500. Press option 2. And thank you all for joining us. And remember, public health matters.
The tick population only seems to be growing. And while they may not cause any noticeable symptoms right away, ticks can cause allergic reactions and spread dangerous or even deadly diseases. Reported in all 50 states, Lyme disease is a worldwide infectious disease spread through tick bites and growing at epidemic proportions in the U.S. Be sure to check yourself and your pets for ticks, especially if you live in grassy or wooded areas. For more information on ticks, how to prevent them, treatment, and more, please visit www.cdc.gov/Lyme.